Welcome to the Dumbass Workshop. In this episode, we're going to be making two medium-sized flags out of oak and walnut.
And also stay tuned. At the end of this episode, we're going to show you how to make these, but also we're going to give you, if you're interested in purchasing one of these, give you instructions on how to purchase one. So stay with us.
Desperado, sitting in a old Monte Carlo, a man whose heart is hollow.
Hey, thanks for joining the Wood Shop by Two Dumbasses. Again, we talked about in the intro that we're going to be making a medium wooden flag, Tim, out of oak and walnut. We've got several other episodes out there on a small flag and then a large flag. This is what we're calling the medium flag. So let's go through kind of the construction and the dimensions of it. So outside dimensions without a frame on it, this is just the stripes. It's going to be 24 inches in length. It's going to be 13 inches in height. That means that each stripe, 13 stripes, are going to be 1 inch. And obviously we need 6 stripes that are 24 inches and 7 stripes that are about 14 and a half. We're going to cut them a little longer, so we'll trim them later at 15 inch.
Excellent.
So this is how it breaks down. We're going to need 3 walnut stripes at 24 inch by 1 inch, 4 walnut strips at 15 inches by 1 inch, 3 oak strips at 24 inches by 1 inch, and 3 oak strips at 15 inches by 1 inch.
Oh.
So I really like making this flag because the dimensions are, the stripes are 1 inch, nice, 2 foot is a nice dimension. They're just a really nice size flag.
Yeah,
so.
very uniform, right?
Yep. So stay with us. We're going to get into the construction of this.
So Joel, as we kick off this project, what's our first step? You're kind of the expert on these.
Yeah. Step 1 is we're using 3/4 inch oak and walnut material. So the nice thing about these dimensions that we've already talked about is that these stripes on the flag are exactly 1 inch. So nice even dimension, easy to cut. So that's going to be the first step, is cutting these dimensions. You're going to see us cutting these strips, and then we'll cut them to the appropriate length.
Okay. Well, our next step in the flag process is we're going to start to assemble these flags. And we've cut all of our 15 inch and 24 inch, and again we've cut these a little long. We're going to trim them to size, but we're ready to start not only gluing but brad nailing these together. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 sections. We're going to have one section which is the long stripes, and then we're going to have the short stripes up here. So we're going to assemble those in two separate stages, and then we'll start to assemble as part of the overall flag.
So at this step of the process, what you're doing is, you got 6 long 24 inch ones at the bottom. You want to start with walnut, and you're going to end alternating with an oak, and then you start with the short ones. So
And we'll have 7 of those, right?
7 of the short ones, 15 inches, and then we'll cut this square on the end, and it should be close to 24 inches. We've tried nailing these, and you've seen episodes in the past where I've nailed it. It works great on pine, but on hardwood it's a crapshoot because the wood's so hard that the nail will find a grain and come out the side or the back, which is no good. So we're going to end up gluing these, and then we'll put a backer board on it. So that's the video that you're going to see here now, is just assembling the flag without the union. You want to make sure when you get up to these top short ones here that this edge where the union is straight as possible. So if you don't have square edges, make sure you square them off. And then when you assemble these, make sure that this edge is as square as you can get it, so it'll really help you when you put the union together.
Perfect.
All right, we'll show some of this, how we assemble it, and go from there.
Yeah, I would say just doubling down is I assembled these two sets, and
there is no rhyme or reason to the grains. The brad, we were using 18 gauge brads and they were getting wonky on us and going right through the bag. So very frustrating.
Yeah. So, all right, let's glue these up, Timbo. All right, so here's at this stage of the construction, so we ended up gluing and then using 16 gauge nails on it, and that did a much better job than the hardwood. We were gonna just glue the joints, but tried to avoid clamps whenever we can, so the air nailer with the 16 gauge worked great. Now we're gonna cut these edges square on this side. This side's pretty square with the union, and obviously this side we've got to cut square. Again, we're trying to get about 24 inches, but it doesn't have to be perfect because the dimensions are what they are. It just looks proportional. So that's where we're at.
Yep.
How'd it go, Tim, for you?
Really good. Learned a lot. I think the brad nailer saved us a lot of time. Just a lot more power.
Yeah.
Right? Pushing through, and I think we only had, out of all these joints, I think we had 2 or 3 that went wonky on us.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing I think we'll see when we get there, when the glue dries 100%, is we normally put backers on the back here. However, because we got glued in those 2-inch or 2.5 inch 16 gauge nails, really makes this pretty sturdy. So we'll see if we need backer boards or not. If we don't need them, we're not going to use them. But so far they look pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. All right, we sanded this, started with Tim 120, 220, and 400, and in between grades that we changed grit. Tim brought up the idea of wetting it down with a wet rag, and I think it really made a big difference here. So these turned out beautiful. Then from a stain standpoint, you saw us apply the driftwood stain. We usually use golden oak, but really any light stain just to bring out the grains of the walnut and the oak is going to work out. And in this case, it's driftwood. I'm not sure it makes a difference as long as it's light.
It looks super good.
But they turn out good at this stage, so now we'll go to the unions and start cutting our unions to shape and getting those attached, stained and attached, and that's what you'll see next. So we're just rough cutting our union shapes. I like to rough cut them and then on the cross cut saw, and then we'll take them over to the table saw and cut both dimensions, the end and the length on them. But we're using a 1x8. We need about a 7 1/4 inches height, so it's about perfect for a 1x8 with a little scrap. So the next step here is we're going to attach the union here. Again, just a reminder, if you're making multiple flags, it's good to label them. This is D to D, dog to dog, and then I like to put an arrow up, so make sure you got the orientation correct on them, because they're a lot of times unique to each union cut here. So we're going to glue this, and then we're going to attempt to either use trim nails to toe nail it in, or an air nailer here to toe nail it in. All right, at this step, we're going to take our template, put it on here. We'll include a link down below here on where you can get this template off Amazon. It's $5 to $10. The watch out with the template, just make sure that the pointy end of your star is facing up, and if the template doesn't exactly fit the union, just split the difference, both horizontally and vertically, so it's centered correctly. But what we're going to do also in this step is put some trim nails and toenail those in here and one here, just to add some more security to this union to keep it in place.
So next step, we're wrapping up these flags. So we've got all the stars on. We use that Gorilla Clear Glue. Use whatever you want, but it dries pretty clear. It's pretty good. Our next step is we are going to be cutting and framing these out, and start to put a new kind of rugged look onto these with this live edge, if you will. So here we go.
Well, we've got these flags just about done. We've been making these for a veteran of ours. We're gonna actually put a decal right here for the ship that this veteran served on. But for the most part, these are pretty well done, right?
Yeah, and again, just to, revisit these a little bit, the flags themselves are identical. You can just see that Tim and I took some latitude, and we've got a couple flags with just black. We think the black trim looks the best of any color, otherwise it kind of blends in with the flag. And then you got the trusted rusty bark look, which people either love or they hate, right? So the frames you can do however you want once you get the flag done.
Yeah. Personal preference.
Personal preference. We'll also include some pictures. Tim referenced the ship for our veteran friend. We're going to put that on these four for him and his family. But we've done some ones in the past that have different, you don't have to put anything on these flags. They're beautiful by themselves. But if you did want to make them unique, I'll show you some pictures here that have different emblems that we can put on them. And as I stated at the beginning of this episode, if you're interested in these, again, feel free to make them. You can make them out of pine. These are oak and walnut. But send us an email if you're interested in these. We'd love to fund some of the show in our future episodes by selling some of these. So just send us an email and contact us that way, and we'll get together and discuss how we can make that happen, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
But until then, be safe, have fun, and make some sawdust.